Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is a specific live for a friend of mine, Mary, and she tagged me in a group of retired Calgarians, their post and their snowbirds, and I always take time out for retired Albertans. It's maybe it's because I'm a rural guy, the way I grew up. Private school system Catholic, but I always try, whenever retired Albertans come to me, I always try to make time. I always do, and it's very, very important to me, always has been. So this one's for you, Mary. I hope she figures out the live and the tag I just made her, and she joins my Facebook Live. I don't know if she's here or not. I'm just going to quickly scroll everybody. Not sure if she's familiar with lives. Maybe not, but we're going to get into this. And I made just a couple notes to keep me on track. Just 3 points so I can start out, go through this properly. Because I also tagged John Carpay, whether he's going to have time right now or sometimes it takes him a week to get to it. And he sent me a post today, everybody, before we get into this. And he's looking at the War Measures Act. As you all may or may not know, he's suing the government right now. And John is a constitutional expert. He's Alberta's constitutional expert. I've been a friend and follower of John's. He's been a great mentor for me for a number of years. And sometimes our directions go in different directions because, again, he's in an organization that absolutely fights for freedoms. He's a professional, and that's what he does. And, of course, I've been in the politics side. I'm definitely for separation, so I go a different direction. But we do talk every now and then. He's pretty gracious with me. I can always phone him. He always calls me back. We're pretty close, and I'm pretty fortunate for that. So, everybody, and this is for my retired Albertans and snowbirds. Like I said, oh, there's Mary. I see ya. Excellent. I'm glad you joined in. This is absolutely for you and that group of retired Calgarians. And I want it for all retired Albertans, but I want to get into this. So what the government's doing on travel restrictions and what I want retired Albertans to know who do want to travel, you've absolutely been very limited to where you can go now, and that's not going to change maybe for some time. John's challenging that. Other places you can go outside of Mexico and the Caribbean through only the Calgary International Airport. There's lots of countries you can go to that are on our immigration list. Unfortunately, when I say that, it's because it's to bring people in, not really to let you all out. Having said that, regardless of John and the law and the challenges going forward, I know that retired Albertans don't want to run into trouble. So this is my absolute exact advice for all of you. To stay within the new laws, whether legal, justified or not. Before you go, have a plan of how you're going to quarantine upon your destination and how you plan on quarantining coming back. The checklist you have to have is for retired Albertans. You're together, and you can't have anybody else who's immune compromised or somebody else past the age of 65 in your primary residence here in Alberta. That has to be a checklist number one. Should you go travel, that wherever you go, when you come back, nobody in that category is going to be in your Alberta primary residence. Have that all written up, have that presented for your plan before you go to your destination and how you're going to plan on getting back. Be prepared wherever you go. They're going to have lockdowns and restrictions on that end too. This has become kind of an international, worldwide thing. That's what Jason Kenney was articulating to so many who are lashing out right now. This isn't a post about what's right or wrong. This is my post to help retired Canadians. So that's number one. Your plan to and from and how that's going to relate just in your residence. That's number one. Number two is the testing. the testing that absolutely matches the federal government of Canada's, that's what has to be at your departure place internationally, wherever you're going to go or wherever you are right now. Make sure whatever test you take before you get on the plane matches the federal government of Canada's testing. It's on the federal government website. That's my help for retired Canadians who wish to travel right now. But you're not going to be able to go to places like Caribbean, Bahamas, Mexico, those kind of warm destinations. You absolutely may have to look at the United States of America. But again, make sure you have that pre-plan, post-plan, and your primary residence is free from anybody over the age of 65, children going to school, meaning you're not taking care of grandkids, or you have family at your primary residence that you have while you're snowbirding, okay? And nobody immune compromised, absolutely not, because they want you isolated for 14 days, not interacting with other people that will go out and should you get a variant, which unfortunately the international travel is with all these variant countries, because unfortunately the government of Canada, doesn't matter which political party, is absolutely all about immigration to Canada this year. They've doubled it, and they've also allowed all the variants in. So all the lockdowns and restrictions we're going through and why you're getting all these travel restrictions are because Canada's not listening to the international community. They're not working with them. Now I'm going to get into John Carpay, his latest release, this lawsuit he's going through. From what I see on all this, everybody, John is going with the post-1948 international system of justice. He's going with that, what Canada is bound to, and he's using specifically laws related to 1970-71 use of the War Measures Act. He is not going with the Spanish flu 1918, what Canada went through, which everything Canada's doing to all of us right now, they did absolutely, especially here in Alberta, they did in 1918 under the Spanish flu. However, world laws were colonial bound. There was no restriction on that. The League of Nations ruled in this world at that time. Canada, a binding member of that, they got away with administering everything under our 1867 Constitution because of the system of League of Nations. Now, John realizes 1948, the world has changed. Canada underwent a massive change. Canada accepted new international binding laws that are being imposed on you and restrictions placed on you in international travel right now. That Canada is being held to, grabbed literally by the throat, because Canada decided it doesn't need to follow any international laws. Your gross autocratic government decided they're going to play and make their own rules, and now the international community said, oh no you don't, Canada. Oh no you don't. Now Justin Trudeau is imposing all kinds of new restrictions on you because he, the official opposition, chose to allow all this mass immigration in, even though the world said, hey, whoa, wait a minute, you don't do this. Like I said, all of our governments can be placed in some big trouble. Now, while John is going with the legal narrative inside Canada, using those international laws, I'm looking at it at a different direction, that I want to go to the International Court of Justice as a human rights violation, which doesn't require Canadian lawyers. And it's nothing against John. We're not working together, but we're not so different in our narratives. I'm just using a different avenue, another tool in the toolbox. That's what I want to go through. But as for all my retired Albertans that I do care very much for, a lot of you message me. I know you're very courageous people. A lot of you keep, in the back room kind of thing, personal messenger or email, and I appreciate and I do listen to your messages when I catch up. And thank you, Marie, for tagging me in that retirement community in Calgary, that group of chat. And this is my advice for all of you. Or right now, if you're trying to come home to Canada and you're afraid, these are the steps right at the beginning of the video. Those are the absolute steps you should go through to have a nice, easy, safe return to Canada. And if your primary residence is compromised in any way, you have to make sure that's not the case. That means if there's family members or people staying there, they have to vacate your premises. You have to have that primary residence planned and organized for you and your spouse or whatever. It has to just be for you in isolation and quarantine, and they won't be able to detain you. And if you go through an airport checkpoint, you get on that end where you leave, make sure that plan is in writing provided. Make sure your testing matches what the federal government of Canada testing is. Contact the federal government before you leave. For all my retired Albertans who wish to come home, make sure you contact the government of Canada. Make sure those tests are available to you in the region you're in, wherever that is in the world, trying to get home. Make sure that's in place. Make sure your plan for quarantine in writing is in place so that they can't detain you. And then at that point, if they try to detain you at arrival at an airport, that's when you need to have John Carpay's number, the Justice Center's number, and use that. Because if you put the plan in, you have your primary residence all established, isolated for you, your significant other, then that should be it. And there's nothing anyone should be able to impose on you. We're not under the War Measures Act, not yet. Justin Trudeau hasn't done that. What they are utilizing is 1918's reaction to the Spanish flu, which is unprecedented in Canada. We have an 1867 Constitution, amended several times up to the last major in 1982, but we've had decisions from the Supreme Court and amendments to amendments since then through the decisions made. So it never kind of ends, but as far as what laws they're able to utilize, it's all Canada says to its people, but what the international community says are two different things, and those have to be challenged in court. But I don't want to see you guys used as being isolated, put into situations you didn't want to be in. So I'm just telling you the rules in Canada right now to avoid all that if you don't want to be brought into this system right now as it's being utilized. If you don't want to be a part of the fight, you just want to come home or you just want to go, that's how you do it. And never mind Mexico, the rest of it, that's all off limits. The ones that are listed, off limits to going. We can't change that right now. We'll see what John and the Justice Center do. I wish them well. I don't know how successful they're going to be because I know Canada's broken. I know we need constitutional challenges, but I also know the political system is geared to autocracy and all the parties in power. When I say all the parties, I mean the ones who've been elected in power are all in cahoots besides Quebec's Bloc. They're the only ones not totally in cahoots. However, I don't know on the socialist narrative how far they're on with travel restrictions. So I don't know. I haven't looked at Bloc status on that yet. And I don't speak French. I'm not very good at that at all. So I haven't kept up with it. I could reach out to Legault's party. I do have, with CAC, I have some insiders there. It's been a few months since I've reached out to anybody. But I hope this video helps. I hope for retired Albertans, get this shared out. Get your plans in order, whether that's coming back or looking to go out to travel. But be safe, be careful, and don't trust anyone or anything. I mean, trust John Carpay and the Justice Center. I just don't know how much they're going to be able to do for you. So that's why I'm telling you, play ball, work within the rules, work within what Canada's standards are, and make sure you reach out to the Canadian Authority on it, which is on the government website. Go to gc.ca, just type in travel. It's something you guys got to plan. Like I said, plan your to and from plan, your quarantine there, your quarantine here coming back. Make sure your primary residence is not compromised in any way. and you don't have grandchildren there or immune compromised or other people over the age of 65, make sure your primary residence is yours and yours alone. Make sure you're communicating that before you leave, where you're going, and when you come back, so that nobody can say, well, she told me. Like, for example, a lot of travelers don't realize what's happened. They told people on one end in another country a certain thing. They reported that. And then internationally, it came back to Canada. They said, hey, what the hell's with this, right? And then they grabbed these people. And we don't know all the details. Maybe it's Canadian citizens. Maybe it's permanent residents. But not every country recognizes, just because Canada says, oh, it's a permanent resident, doesn't mean every country in the world recognizes that. See what the problem here is? There's international law, and then there's Canada's laws. And soon you're all starting to learn, as I've been trying to educate for a long time, that what Canada says is not what the international world says. And there are world powers that overshadow that. And now our government's got caught with their pants down, but of course they control the media, they control the narrative. Who's the bad guy here? Well, it's absolutely your government. Thanks, everybody. I hope this made sense. I hope it helps all my retired Albertans. Have a great night, everybody. Get it shared out, especially in retirement communities, people looking to travel, snowbirds as they're called. You do deserve that freedom of movement. I just don't know right now how we're going to get there other than playing within the rules established. That's if you don't want to be made some kind of martyr or you don't want to go through the legal system. That's all I'm trying to give you here. It's a safe way to go about what you do. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.